Welcome everybody to Can't Draw Horses Club. Woo!
Hey, hello everyone.
So today I have Jane with me, back
Hi.
from the Edsy and Jane webcomic series,
hmm
and today we're going to be handing you all a series of questions. You have to answer these questions as honestly as you possibly can. I'm posting the form link in chat. And so now that I've done that, I guess Jane can explain.
Yeah. Who here in chat likes role-playing games? Do you like role-playing games, Corey?
Oh yes.
I love role-playing games, and one of my favorite part of role-playing games, at least the tabletop version, is drawing my own characters. Uh, I I've made a few characters in my time playing role playing games with my friends on Discord in person. And I'd say that pretty much the reason I got back into drawing, like I want to say about 5, 6 years ago now, is to draw my Blorbos and to tell people about them and say, hey, look at this thing I drew. Um,
When you say a few characters, does that mean like four, five?
well, if you want to bring up the art screen in a
Art
moment,
screen. All right.
yeah.
There's that.
So please do check out the form in chat. Corey did just link it
Yep.
because we're going to be I'm going to be drawing a character based on your choices. Corey will also be drawing a character based on your choices, but in a different way. Um, but so once we've got some more answers in, I'll be drawing a character. Here's some of the more recent characters I've drawn for various role playing games. Um, I'll zoom in a bit here since it can be a bit. Yeah, 1 second. Boop, boop, boop. Let's start over here. So I played. I've had the blessed opportunity to have played a lot of different systems. Not all of them for long. I haven't played complete campaigns in all of these, but I have gotten a sense of a lot of different systems and had the chance to play a lot of different, characters. And uh, my favorite thing every time is getting to draw that character. Um, and something I do somewhat frequently is that if I particularly enjoy a character or like a name or something, I might end up recycling them in a later system. Like maybe here, maybe Lavender is a character that let's see here.
Oop.
Oop.
So is glitch a system?
Yes, Glitch. Have you ever heard of Nobilis?
No.
Okay. Um, have you ever heard of Chubo's marvelous wish granting engine?
No.
Okay. So to explain, basically, Nobilis is a game where you're playing powers. You are basically people who represent fundamental aspects of reality. Glitch is essentially a sidequel to that game where you are playing their sworn enemies. Yeah, you are
So
playing
you're the
basically
baddies.
sort of. You are playing an excrucian, a person who has basically been chosen by non-existence to war against reality and return it to whence it came.
So
But
entropy.
In Glitch you play an excrucian who got tired of that, who was like, actually, I'm just kind of sick of it, and
So do you have a lot of
I'm just
naps
going
in
to
this game? Is that is
yeah.
that's my speed.
Well, like it, you're part of the Riders Abstinence Society. Rider in this case being like Rider of the Apocalypse. So you're just like you're trying to just exist in a world that hates the fact that you exist. And it's got lots of interesting themes, but it's very weird, and it didn't end up going anywhere. But I really liked the character I made. And when my friend put together a Scion game, Scion is basically, do you know the Percy Jackson books? Like
Yes.
sort of modern fantasy where all the characters are children of gods.
Also, I know Scion and Exalted.
Yeah. So Scion is your character is the child of God. In Scion, maybe Lavender is the child of Aphrodite. So
So
like
Heart Bearer.
yeah, and basically the idea is she is a non-combatant, but she is incredible as a social focused character. Um and she's not super happy about the fact that she's Aphrodite's daughter. Like she's well read on her mythology and knows that being part of the Theoi, the Greek pantheon, kind of sucks. It's not great. Um, but she's doing her best with it. Uh, then let's see here. Got Tales from my character from Tales from the Loop here, which is a very fun modern sci-fi vibes of Stranger Things sort of going on.
Well, they had
Like
their own TV series.
yeah, and yeah, Tales from the Loop has had its own TV series, and sort of Tales from the Loop, playing Tales from the Loop is sort of like building your own version of that TV series. Like you can sort of see here. There's tiny bean, uh, Lily May right here, and then her grown-up version who has turned into a grumpy teenager. So, tiny bean teenager here.
Thank you. Yes, that
Yeah,
helps.
and then so Tales from the Loop was great. I actually want to credit Adsy here, my writing partner. She ran that game. She did a fabulous job. I'm still very fond of it. One of the few RPGs that's gotten me to like burst into tears because,
Oh,
yeah, like good tears. Like I was crying for good, like dramatic reasons. But um, Jack here is my longest running Pathfinder character. Pathfinder's D&D for it's basically D&D, sort
with
of.
guns?
Huh?
With guns.
Yes, there are guns, but Jack is a witch, so um, not much of a gun person.
You got little
But
rose cape going on.
yeah, I
Tell
actually
me about
designed.
your mouse friend with the little vest.
Yeah, that's Jack's familiar, Pox. Um, d- Sort of Jack developed a sort of platonic queer partnership with a fashion designer in the game I played them with. So uh, yeah, these are both outfits that NPC made for them. Um, and sort of I love this vibe I had with Jack, that they were this very like sort of grody, like they grew up extremely poor. They were orphaned on the streets, and like before they joined up with this adventuring party, they were mostly used to wearing like rags and like sort of decrepit robes, like dressed up in like bones and stuff. But then they sort of like they ended up developing these relationships, and sort of that got reflected in their outfits that I got a chance to design.
Okay. I'm going
um,
to
but-
repost the link to the form in chat for
yes,
people who may
please.
have joined late. Please fill out this
Mhm.
form so that we can draw characters based on your decisions.
Yeah. So yeah, and also one of the reasons I put this together, this collage, is that you can sort of see the evolution of my art style. Like this is a much older one right here. Corinna was one of my Hunter the Vigil characters.
Which is a World of
Um,
Darkness thing where you're kind of a normal human and you hunt the
yeah, and
weirdos.
the idea is you hunt monsters. Yes. Um, Corinna is a bit of a unique one in that, like we the basis of the campaign is our characters were high schoolers for the most part. But Corinna's family were actually mostly vampires. She herself is a half mortal, half vampire, and like she is from an old money, old blood family. Uh, and the idea was I was playing this sort of queen bee sort of character
Oh,
with a
Mean
lot of
Girls.
yeah social cachet. Um, and this is her boyfriend slash fiance in the background here. So it's that. Scrolling back over. I've got Ruby here from, I mentioned Chubo's Marvelous Wish Granting Engine earlier.
Uh-huh.
I've heard it frequently described as Ghibli simulator.
Is it like
Um,
a D6 system?
it's extremely esoteric. The version we played was diceless.
Right, okay.
Uh, and it's very much based on your character's capabilities are like entirely built out of like storytelling tropes and roles. Like uh my character's entire thing was that sort of like being torn between the two axes of being a very cute, like earnest little girl and being a terrifying weapon of destruction, like Astro Boy style.
I've seen that anime. Yep.
Yeah, see that way. Um, yeah, gotta zoom out a bit here. Got let's see here. Now we're getting into both some of my more recent stuff and some of my favorite characters I've cooked up. Um, Persephone here was originally a Mage the Awakening character. Um, and I've mentioned that I sometimes remix characters for later systems. Persephone was what ended up being one of my favorite characters, and I used her a lot both in Mage, and I ended up using her in Monster Hearts, which is a Powered by the Apocalypse game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically a supernatural slash Teen Wolf slash True Blood simulator. The like romantic drama, soap opera style stuff with like all of your characters are teenage or young adult monsters, and you have all these emotional strings on each other that you're pulling as you try to like navigate being just a complete mess of a person. Like,
And then Adzi stole Persephone for Arcana Watch.
what she did was I was like, hey, can we get her into Arcana Watch? And she was like, yes. And then
Oh.
she did it for me.
It's theft.
Yep.
OC do steal.
Yes.
Was Monster Hearts also an anti-run game?
No, actually, Monster Hearts is still ongoing. Actually,
Oh,
my friend, yeah, it's run by my friend JD. It's very good. It's been very fun. Um, God, has it been about 2 years since that started? Yeah, it's a sort of game which can just keep going because you're basically doing seasons of a TV show.
right. I've only heard
Right.
people doing like one shots because usually it's like a demo thing at a convention.
Yeah, it can be, it can be great for one shots, but the way we're playing it is basically an ongoing TV show. Like the most recent thing that happened is that my character's girlfriend's mom, turned her into a cat,
Now you get to
and
be
now
a cat.
huh?
No downside.
I mean, like
No downsides.
there are downsides, but we're gonna work on them. So yeah, Yana here is a character I made based on sort of the high concept is a D&D character who is a mom. Um, that's her babu right there, Maya. And the basic idea is she is a monk, and she's going on these adventures. And in this corner of her mind, this is part of her that's thinking about, okay, all right, I need to finish this adventure so I can get home, get paid, and support my child. And like, just I wanted to explore, how certain priorities can change when your character is a parent.
Yeah. Well, that kind of happened with my vampire.
Yeah.
Now I'm a vampire mom.
Oh, your vampire has a child with the E at the end?
Not yet. Working
Oh.
on it.
Oh. Oh boy.
She's still alive.
Spring Petal here is from Exalted, which is probably my favorite setting, at least, in this list. Apparently I am much louder on one screen than the other. I'm not sure
They're
why.
exactly the same audio source with the
1
same
second.
settings.
Hey, TXC2, am I louder now?
Well,
okay, go back to the drawing.
All right. The other one. Yeah.
Test. Testing. Can you hear me louder now?
Like, I've literally got the exact same audio source.
I may have had one of them muted. I'm not sure.
No.
Oh.
I've only got your face cam voice.
Weird. It might have just been because I was looking down while speaking instead of into my mic.
Maybe.
Huh. Okay, well, let's continue. So, Exalted is a great system if you love epic martial arts action and extremely high drama. Like, Spring Petal's goal is to end slavery, the practice of slavery in the setting, which is like, that's a nice starter goal for an Exalted character.
Right.
Then
looks like Adzy's a fan of this character.
So Otarthi is a Goliath. She is a Goliath bard. She is a character I've cooked up for D&D 5e campaign that Adzy is running. And she's great. She's a historian. She's super interested in the history of the ancient Goliath Empire, while also striving to be a mighty warrior in emulation of her people's first king, Otar. She's named after. The idea is, I sort of built her name based on like how you get characters in, I guess like Scandinavian Norse mythology that are like named after Thor, like Thorkel or Dorothy. And yes, Otar has a similar significance in her culture, and so she was named after him. And like definitely the most recent art, you can tell because it looks better than all the others. Yeah, very happy with that one. And then probably like Rosalia is a character I've never gotten to use, but I do like posting the art because it's very shiny. And then Mir here is a non-binary character I'm very fond of. They are another Mage the Awakening character, and their whole concept is basically they use magic to do therapy to people, and they're very good at it.
Do therapy to people.
Yes. Look, sometimes in the world of darkness, you encounter people who really need therapy and will fight you off from giving it to them with like a knife or a chainsaw.
They have to want to change.
Yeah, I can help with that.
I too have played an evil enchanter. Okay, Quixotic Scanner.
So that's just a tiny snapshot of like characters I've played, and just like I guess the point I'm getting to is that drawing your characters for RPGs is awesome, and like if you're thinking about getting into art, like just starting with drawing the characters that you want to play as is a great place to do that. Let's see, I think now's a good time to check on the answer
How
so
are we
far.
doing?
Definitely looks like World of Darkness is winning the. Let's see here. It's definitely winning the system setting.
Okay.
The one with the fewest votes is Monsters and Other Childish Things, which is apparently Cthulhu, Calvin, and Hobbes, which is interesting. Whoever posted that one should definitely elaborate a bit. And we may also want to relink the poll because it looks like there's only 13 responses.
That's normal.
That question. Yeah. All right.
We have
Yeah.
tiny viewership compared to the rest of the channel.
Mhm.
There's about 70 people here.
Yeah. In terms of capabilities, currently the one with the most votes, it's actually an even tie between Nimble and Buff as Hell, so we're getting a very physical character, possibly a Samus Aran style build here. Yeah, that's what my brain goes to with like Nimble and Buff as Hell is Samus Aran.
Big shoulder.
The big shoulders are
a little ball.
Yeah. And I guess for fewest votes, we have a couple other votes with one for leader, one for inquisitive, and one for thick. And of the other options, leader is the one with the least votes. Shape, Dorito. So
yeah.
Big shoulders. I don't think we're avoiding the big shoulders at this point. For our distinctive fashion choice, we're going to have too many belts. The one with the least choices so far is between too many sunglasses. Sorry, too many sunglasses.
Too many sunglasses.
And long coats. For expression, we're going with big smiley face. Expression with the fewest votes is tied between triangle face and cat emoji.
Ooh.
Equipment is going to be bare fists.
My bare fists.
I may put a book on them somewhere. Fewest votes is for magic and big weapon. And then extra spice is increased size of carried gear, which I'm not sure how I'm going to, I guess, really big fists. Really, I'm not
Maybe
sure
like
what I'll do.
Karibo's shoe, and you just ride around in a giant fist.
Maybe. Oh, wait! It is now an even tie between bare fists and book. So, okay.
Yeah, looks like people are pushing for large book.
Okay. That this is perfect. Have you ever read Girl Genius?
Oh yes.
There's my favorite gag from that is when Agatha hits a character with a giant book titled basically using found objects as weapons.
Schmott.
Oh god. It's now an even tie between World of Darkness and Exalted.
Oh.
Yeah, that's one somebody's going to have to break, because unlike the others, I can't combine the capabilities. Yeah. I know that in first edition, the implication was that Exalted was the past of World of Darkness, but I've never really liked that supposition.
I think they're kind of more concurrent now.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both their own things. They're very much their own things. Okay. Yeah.
I'm glad Adzy's here. Adzy will get my jokes.
I see. Yeah, Exalted 3. Yeah, Exalted 3's combat is a little finicky. It's less so than previous iterations of the system. The basic idea is that it's trying to build fight scenes like the Darth Vader and Luke fight scene in Empire, where like it's this very gradual process of Darth Vader overwhelming Luke until he strikes a critical blow. And that's sort of how Exalted 3E once its fight scenes to play out.
Mm.
Which, it can be finicky if you want fights to last less than it can be finicky if you want fights to end. It can be a little hard. Okay. So I'm gonna swap over to the template I prepared.
Oh, you made a template.
Yes, I did. Let's see here. So let's get these responses down. I'm going to call time on responses.
All right.
So for our system and setting, we are going with World of Darkness. For the character's capabilities, Buff as Hell has dramatically increased its lead. So,
is leader still at the bottom?
Yes, leader is still at the bottom.
So since we cut off the votes at this point, I'll now tell chat that I'm taking the least picked option for my character.
Oh, did you want the least picked option for system setting, or did you want to make a World of Darkness character?
I was going to go with whatever the Calvin and Hobbes Cthulhu thing is.
All right, yeah, go for it.
Bill Watterson.
Yeah, monsters and other childish things.
Thank you.
If I remember, okay, so I'm a massive nerd who just runs through TV tropes all the time. I did read this page once, and it was basically like, the characters are little kids, and they use imaginary friends to fight eldritch abominations. So there you go. That's a pretty strong premise, honestly. Shape is Dorito. And then least picked shape of the options, you can choose either string bean or banana. But you're going you're getting a bean either way. Banana. Distinctive fashion choice is going to be too many belts. How many belts would you say is too many?
8.
8? 8 belts? Okay.
Yeah. Have you not seen too many belts before on a character? Some characters wear mostly just belts.
Okay. I'm going to aim for 8 belts then.
Okay.
Your options for least selected distinctive fashion choice are spiky hair, half cape, too many sunglasses, and long coat.
I'm doing spiky hair.
Alrighty. Expression is going to be big smiley face for me. And your choice is going to be the slanty face, or...
Slanty face is my favorite
Excellent.
emote.
For equipment, I'm going with both Bearfist and Buck because I think I've got an idea. And then your choices are big weapon and magic.
Got it.
And then finally, extra spice, increased size of carried gear for me. Carried gear. And then let's see here. Your options are birds, is a harpy, horse, or has a big buddy hidden as an innocuous little inanimate buddy. So I guess like an actual bear that is disguised as a teddy bear, maybe. That sort of thing.
Yeah, that would get me to not draw a horse. You're right. So correct. So it's innocuous, big buddy.
Yeah. Like one of the options was has a little buddy, and I think somebody took that and ran with it in a different direction.
Yep. All right.
Give me a moment while I hydrate.
Me too.
Actually, it's very funny. You mentioned previously that if I included horse as an option, everyone in chat would pick it.
I
And
did.
yeah, I think we've successfully subverted that expectation. Okay. All right. So we're making a World of Darkness character. They're buff as hell, Dorito shaped. They have too many belts. They have a cheerful expression, which is going to be interesting. Um, their equipment are bare fists and a book. I'm thinking like extremely enthusiastic supernatural researcher who like isn't the smartest but makes up for that by just like punching ghosts. Like I think that could be fun.
Making a banana-shaped child with spiky
Oh boy.
hair and magic powers. Big
Okay.
magic.
So Dorito. All right. There's our shape. There's your Dorito chat. So yeah, I definitely think this could be a very fun kind of character in World of Darkness of just like, like World of Darkness is often, like really involves a lot of investigation, a lot of, like sneaking around, a lot of research, but you're always going to need at least one person who knows how to throw a punch. God, okay, actually, I am now thinking about who this character reminds me of just based purely on the shape, and my brain went to Captain Carrot from Discworld.
Oh yeah. Very
Yeah,
tall dwarf.
very the tallest dwarf, still a dwarf. I if I remember correctly, his dwarven name translated to like bangs head on roof.
Yep.
Yeah,
On like doorways or whatever.
yeah. I need to figure out where am I going to put their where am I going to put their belts? And it's like I'm thinking either hunter or mage, like because of like pretty much entirely because of the book.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually in Mage the Awakening one of the heroic faction, heroic because it's World of Darkness. It's all shades of gray. The Silver Arrow, who believe that basically, you know, your magic is only as good as you are, so you need to get buff as hell. So I definitely think our lad here is a Silver Arrow.
Still trying to think of what to do for like magic big weapon.
I mean, somebody already pointed out the Moonlight Greatsword, so you can just go for that build. You know, see where it takes you.
Well, I like to hit a lot of birds with one rock, so
Yeah. Hmm. Actually, wait a minute here. Okay, if I draw this and then I draw that. This is often what I do when I'm trying to draw something that I don't quite have a clear image of it in my head yet, is I just draw a bunch of circles until they start to make a shape that makes sense to me.
okay.
So big hands. And then, he's got to have a book. It's going to be a very big book. So there are magic grimoires in Mage, and also World of Darkness, since they're crossovers. But like, there are specifically like big magic grimoires in Mage that can both lend you extra power and teach you spells. And I think this is one such thing. And I think the spell this book teaches is Punch. Like, this is the Punch Wizard. This is the Muscle Wizard for you. For you Wheeler fans out there.
Punch Wizard. I'm looking at more like Punch and Judy Punch.
Oh. How to punch. I cast Fistful Fist! Yeah. That's Beowulf in chat. So yeah, alright. That is enough of a baseline sketch that I know mostly how this guy is going to look, since I definitely think the belts are just going to be like, okay. Well, actually, okay. So the purpose, ostensibly, of belts in an outfit are to like tighten fabric and to hold things up. The purpose of belts when there are too many belts are to look cool. And like they generally get put like, joints and stuff to add extra contrast. Or just as essentially like texture, like with, Lulu, the infamous Lulu of the dress made of belts. It's basically just like I've always felt like the effect of her belts was to essentially give her dress this unique texture and like, that sort of thing.
Right.
But I think for our extremely buff gentleman here, he's just going to have belts. They wanted to get armbands, but they don't have any that fit their massive biceps, so they just purchased some belts or something. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I think I am at the point here where we can start with actually aligning. Drawing this gentleman. Oh, geez, I just realized there was a question I forgot to ask, which was gender. But
yeah, right.
I don't think that's strictly necessary with this character. They're whatever gender you think of. Gender optional. Their gender
maybe.
think I'm going to interpret the expression as a bold, adventurous sort of vibe.
I'll show what people what I'm working on over here. I
I
so
want to see.
because the character's banana shaped, that made me think
Oh,
of Punch, the puppet.
oh boy.
So I've got a kid wearing a mask. He's got a little spiky hair, and I'm trying to. I think maybe he just has a lot of puppets. Just a lot of horrible puppets. Because this is like a Lovecraftian Calvin and Hobbes thing. I don't know what the magic big weapon is. Maybe a giant club. Punch hits people with clubs, right?
Or like a paddle,
Like a
maybe.
paddle, yeah, or like a blackjack, I think. Something. Sap.
We are certainly not going to look this up because it's funnier.
No. No. So just kind of want to maybe like holding another puppet and then maybe a giant stick. Just a really large beaten stick.
This guy is reminding me of Baki the Grappler.
You gonna do the
Which,
face? Come on. You have to make the face grotesque.
well, oh God, I
Bulge
can't
those
even.
muscles.
I can't. I cannot do. I've not studied that style in depth enough to properly replicate and give the like glory that those hyper. Oh God, you know that artist trope where it's like you can look at a work and you're like, oh, you're a foot fetishist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
Baki
just
the Grappler, eh?
you look at Baki the Grappler and you're like, I'm not sure I want to know. I'm not sure I want to go down this path of guessing what you're into. Like I feel like uncomfortable just being like, wow, those sure are some muscles of anatomical something because it sure isn't accuracy. Oh, Atsy, you know some Punch and Judy lore? What is your Punch and Judy lore? Is that the Punch and Judy lore?
Just decided my kid doesn't have feet.
Oh no.
As is correct. It's really long, whatever, Jinkos, those wide-legged jeans.
Jinko jeans? I do think I've heard of Jinko jeans.
Never
Okay,
seen them in the wild.
Okay, so apparently the primary weapon of Punch is a slapstick.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Still getting a beaten stick.
Yeah, gotta get another beating stick. Beat all those eldritch monstrosities into a pulp, which is literally just a stick with a wedge cut lengthwise down it to make it go whack.
Mm-hmm. Like I prefer like a Harrison, like a fan. Those can
Ooh,
go
yeah.
really loud, but they can actually really hurt.
I bet. Uh, uh, it creates mirth. Hmm. Got any suggestions for a name for our large lad? I can't help but look at this and think of him and think of them as a large lad, like whatever their gender is. So, any suggestions for a name for the large lad? Ace. Yeah. No, this is an ace. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I did once make a NPC for a friend for a mage campaign who was very like this gentleman, this person here, in that they were essentially they were a mage that awakens to the cosmic truth of reality because they were an Olympic boxer and their opponent literally knocked them into enlightenment.
Wow.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun. Very polite young lad. You know, in order to maintain Dorito-ness, this lad is skipping half of his leg days in order to retain the appropriate shape. And the shape is Dorito. All right. All right. Need to add more belts onto this. Uh, yeah. Might go over this after the break and just make the lines cleaner before I start coloring it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Because I definitely had fun doing the sketchy thing, but I'm looking at this and going like, this is a mess. I can do better than this. How to pin something unch or nch. Actually, yeah, this guy could be fun. It's like he is a mage, but the primary spell he learned was basically just how do I punch harder? He has continued refining it, delving into the deepest grimoires, seeking out ways to make a further perfect punch, a supernal punch, a punch that expresses the truth of reality. Yeah, that would fall under life. Uh, there should be a generic Twitch emote for that wasn't my alert sound. All right. Are we coming up to a break soon or
Yeah. Would you like to take that right now?
I would actually. I need
Alright.
a second.
So we will be right back after these bees.
Mm-hmm.
Bees! Live bees! Bee!
Welcome back, everybody, to Can't Draw Horses Club. Today we've got Jane with us, and we're drawing tabletop RPG characters based on some forum feedback from earlier in the stream. I'm drawing the least picked option, which were some, like, self-filled in other fields on the thing. So I am working on a Monsters and Other Childish Things character with spiky hair, who is the leader and is banana shaped and has a magical big weapon and maybe like some little friends. And they have like the slashy emoji face. And Jane is working on a World of Darkness character who has a big book, and they're a Dorito.
Mm-hmm. They are the biggest Dorito.
So strong. Big fists.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just kind of cleaning up my lines and looking up reference for what a slapstick looks like, which is kind of like it's got like a paddle handle and then there's like a hinge of wood.
Just it's there to make a big noise.
There to make a big noise.
Meanwhile, Ace is just big friendly.
Big friendly. I feel like my child here is probably a criminal.
I mean, aren't most children at some point? Like, speaking purely from personal experience of my own childhood, I definitely did some crimes.
Oh, you were a crime child. Okay.
I was a crime child, yes. So a child who committed some crimes.
I very rarely did crimes as a child.
It is also possible that I was a crimeless child, but my own sense of guilt is continuing to torment me to this day. Yeah. It's actually like the counterpart to imposter syndrome, where you are instead a criminal for what you have done when it is entirely innocuous.
Poster syndrome. Poser syndrome. I don't know what to call that one.
I do like poster syndrome. Poster. Would that make it poster syndrome?
Is that where you're on the internet? Yeah, probably.
Oh, have we been rated?
Yes, we have by Good Day Internet.
Thank you. We appreciate your raid.
Yep, and it is good to see you today. I hope everything is going well on your end.
Mm-hmm. Are you currently in any role-playing games, Corey?
Yes. I have a weekly game that I play on Wednesdays that my friend Angel, who has been a guest on the show, is running. It's her own
Right.
custom D20 thing that she's run with a bunch
Ooh.
of coworkers. Uh, so we're supposedly near the end game.
Oh boy.
Uh,
How much work is that supposedly doing?
I
'Cause-
don't know,
Ah, yeah.
but I've been
Okay.
playing for a bit over a year now.
Nice, nice, yeah.
Yeah, and they spent a lot of time in one location before I joined up,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're not there anymore. So we've gotten to some other locations, but also the the world is kind of ending, so there's
Oh, boy.
like no resources.
Oh no.
It's like we're just kind of wandering in the burnt out wilderness. It's not even burnt out. One section of the wilderness got turned into candy, and it was
Ooh.
just like full of displacer beasts.
Oh no.
So scary.
Oh god, that sounds like
Yeah. And there's like dimensional rifts, so there's people from the real world falling in.
Oh no.
So, yeah. We're in this fantasy location and I'm meeting up with like people from New York.
Just oh no, they got isekai'd.
Mm-hmm.
That's gotta be the worst feeling. You get isekai'd and it's like, oh boy, is this gonna be a fantasy world where I have like a cheat item or like extra skills? And it's like, no, the world's dying.
They all
Whoa.
had an item that was
Uh-huh.
so there was this demon lady collecting people, and so she
Uh-huh.
was taking their items from them and
Oh.
hoarding them, and the items had various magical powers, and some of them were
Ooh.
extremely cursed.
Oh
Like,
no.
there was a meat hook that made anyone who picked it up go violent, let's
Yeah.
say.
I was going to say mad.
Go mad, but also like self-harm. There was a face that tried to take over your own face. There was
Oh,
a
no.
fez full of teeth.
I'm sorry. A fez.
A fez. And it was
Or
just a mouth inside. And it wanted to be put on. A lot of the items have like, you have to make like a wisdom save if you look
oh
at them.
no.
One of them was a clapping monkey, and it possessed
Oh,
a
no.
man, and that man got murdered by one of our party mates. And it wasn't really even his fault.
Oh no.
There was a darkness knife that the possessed person would just try to dismember other people, and
Yeah.
the limbs stayed alive after being separated. And so that
Huh.
was the thing that possessed my party member that caused him to kill the monkey man, well, the clapping and laughing monkey man. And I had a wicked awesome role where another NPC basically stopped time briefly and handed me a rifle, and I shot into the knife and hit whatever eldritch being was on the other side.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, it was like 2 natural 20s in a row. It was so cool. So now my
Hell yeah.
character's obsessed with guns.
I mean, if you're like, from a fantasy world and you encounter a gun for the first time and it wrecks shit, you're gonna be like,
Yeah.
I want more of this.
So now I've got a different gun that's mine because the previous owner died very tragically.
Oh no.
I told Chad about this, that he fell out of a tree earlier and he lived, but then Angel made the part of the tree fall on top of him
Oh no.
and crush him. So I got the gun, and it went like the shots penetrate 3 targets, and it's got a
Wow.
D12 hit damage dice.
Ooh,
It's just
dang.
like so powerful. But I only have 6 bullets, which is more than I had before, which was none of my spell components and no weapons.
I see. So so the idea is you're in a very dire situation, just grabbing what you can. I see.
Yeah. I had a sling, and I was like, okay, my thing is that I mage hand, like, ammunition for that. And it's cool. That'll work well. And then it was
And now you've
useless.
upgraded to a gun.
Now I have a big gun.
Gun.
Gun. Yeah, if they didn't want to be possessed, they should have succeeded in their wisdom save. But yeah, while I was in the camp with the demon lady that was stealing stuff from people and kidnapping people from other dimensions,
Mhm.
in a dream, my character ran into one of the kidnapped people who was like basically a ballerina with no face, like,
Oh, no.
weird cabin in the woods. And so now my character is invisible to some people.
To some people, but not others.
Yeah. So I'm
What?
not completely alive, which is true of a lot of the other characters too.
Oh boy.
But it's been a lot of fun because, like, when we're streaming and playing, we don't often hit things like clapping monkey that possesses you and makes you go mad. Because that would just be, like, unfair, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Your character might die. We don't generally kill party characters
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for streams. Because we're cowards.
I mean, oh god. So that is definitely reminding me a story of I want to tell because it ties into how I mentioned how certain RPGs have gotten me to cry.
Right.
So I do want to go over that at some point. Actually, yeah, has your story come to a conclusion?
Oh, basically. Like, I can pivot into the stream I'm on for Loading Ready Run, Dice Friends. We have a Vampire the Masquerade thing that we've done two series of, but our DM, our storyteller, Jacob, asked us how kind of like emotionally extreme we wanted to go, and on a scale of 1 to 10, and I was like, 10! F me up! Make me cry! If you can make me cry on camera, amazing.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
down for it. So, yes.
I mean,
now tell me about your tears.
Okay. So Tales from the Loop is actually part of, like, I think there are multiple games in the system, and there's one that's explicitly essentially a sequel to it. Tales from the Loop is your characters basically playing as kids, like exploring, like the wonders and terrors of growing up in a sort of, sci-fi-ish. Yes, Adsy, it's that story. So basically, you're playing kids growing up in this setting, and then when if you decide to hit things from the flood, your characters grow up and become teenagers, and that changes some things. Tales from the Loop is like, one of the core rules is that you're kids and you cannot die.
Yeah.
Like, you can get hurt, you can get traumatized, you can get really broken up, but you're not going to get killed, because that's not the kind of game it is. That's not the kind of universe it is. The first thing, one of the first things Things from the Flood does is like, okay, your characters are now teenagers. We are removing this protection from you.
Oh.
Like, your characters can now die. It is, how likely that is going to be a matter of discussion between yourselves and the GM, but it is an explicit risk. That's not what got me to cry. Adzi, who is a brilliant mad person, there's another game that uses essentially the same system called Mutant Year Zero.
They have a video game.
Yeah, I think so. But the basic, premise of our Mutant Year Zero game was that we hit a certain point in Things from the Flood, and then we basically jumped into the future for our Mutant Year Zero campaign, playing all new characters, and our previous PCs were the elders
Oh,
that had been looking after our mutant characters. And our characters started out with Elder Mal, who was one of the PCs, who had been this sort of like goofy, folksy guy who loved tinkering with machines, and was now this very old man, like doing his best to care for, like a large number of mutant children.
right.
In what sort of out of character we knew, but in character we didn't, was the ruins of this portion of the English countryside where some bad shit had gone down. And we basically played through sort of uncovering the mystery of what had happened that we are now playing in the future that is post-apocalyptic.
Right.
Like, with an utterly, like, what did our characters fail at that, like, they had to do this? And eventually we get to the point where we learn a bit more. We're sort of having to avoid these very dangerous, like, robots at night, and like that, appear to be hunting like mutants that are wandering around. And we eventually reach this one place that it's like there's a bunch of robot activity and traps near it, but when it gets to a certain point, it's like they can't see anything in there.
Right.
And it's this church, and we get to this church, and inside this church we find another elder, one we didn't really know, and we found my previous PC's signature item, an electric guitar that
Okay.
she had basically enhanced with sci-fi technology to basically turn it into a signal jammer. And it was protecting this church and this rose garden at the church from the robots. And we basically learned that my PC had essentially died creating the sanctuary
Ah!
after failing to protect her portion. Basically, each of our previous PCs had adopted a portion of the mutants, and my character had failed to protect them.
Ah!
But basically, in the aftermath, created like this sanctuary in the hopes that we'd be able to find a way to shut down the robots that were causing this apocalypse. And yeah, I basically burst into tears and cried for a solid hour.
You're
But it was
Glorbo!
amazing.
Oh!
Like, it was incredibly cathartic. Like, oh my god. So yeah, RPGs are great. There we go. Okay, let's start coloring. All right, chat. First color I see in chat is going to be the color I make his shirt. Red. Okay.
Alright. I am also going to attempt some coloring. It's messy.
Pink is good. I'll make his pants pink. But yeah, that Tales from the Loop, Things from the Flood, Mutant Year Zero game did eventually conclude. It was very good. Uh, and yeah, I think, you know, what do I think? I'm sorry, my train of thought just got lost on the rails there.
My first response was anime's good, but no, it's tabletop.
Anime is good. Hey, if you like anime, you should check out Exalted. So I've never gotten the chance to play a really long Exalted campaign, and I really want to do that someday. And in lieu of that, I have written about 23,000 words of fan fiction set in that universe. Because sometimes I just have to do it myself.
Right.
But yeah, it's very like martial arts, wuxia, like, you know, studying secret techniques, sort of fisticuffs back and forth. And also just some really incredible imagery. Oh yeah, Brownie Points just pointed out one of the primary facets of the game is that a large portion of the Exalted are afflicted by this thing called the Great Curse. And the basic ideas behind it is that you have inherited this thing called an exaltation, which has been attaching itself to heroes throughout the centuries. And at the beginning of time, it was used in a war against the creators of the world itself. And when those creators fell, they placed a death curse upon it. Like basically cursing any who became exalted to eventually become a terrifying, maddened monster.
Okay.
And so the idea is that your character will start out as this young, bright-eyed hero looking to use their power for the betterment of the world, but will then, you know, struggle with this increasing madness. Like the idea is to emulate sort of characters like Achilles, Beowulf, like Gilgamesh, characters with both epic heroism and epic flaws, like the madness of Hercules that led him to kill his family like multiple times, you know, like from that sort of thing, like is the vibe it's going for. And like it can be fought against, but it is always like a pressure on your character.
So there's just kind of like a corrupting influence that you can't help.
Yeah, and it's sort of like the game represents this mainly by offering like mechanical incentives to role play your limit affecting you. Like, yeah, I would love to get into the same room as Jacob and just talk about Exalted until I'm blue in the face.
That would be, yeah, that would be a good time.
Yeah. Like Exalted is sort of like 40k in that it's one of those things where you can pick any single point and just spiral out fractally until like, and you'll just never really quite run out of things to talk to. It's not as fleshed out as the world of 40k because it is principally a role-playing setting with the idea that you cook up a lot of your own lore for it. Like saying like the exaltation I inherited once belonged to like, the Lord Queen of Creation, or something like that.
Hmm.
And what does that mean for your character? What sort of past life memories do you have to deal with? It's very fun, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. Brownie points, as if I'm recalling correctly, the sidereal exalted were also affected, with the idea that their capacity to make plans for creation became more compromised the more of them worked on a plan. But that might be like 2e lore. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the lore is going to be in 3rd edition. They're still working their way towards all the different exalted in 3rd edition. Because there's so many different kinds of exalted in the game now. What color should I make his belts?
Like black or brown, right?
Like, I mean, black or brown, but if chat has any suggestions, I'm more than happy to take them under advisement. Brown? Dia suggesting brown. Water break.
Fair.
Some black, some brown, they come from fallen enemies. That is a great suggestion, Thor Sokar. God, I'm looking at this guy now and just like he looks so goofy. I don't think this is the kind of character I'd make for an actual World of Darkness game, but I love that he exists now.
Hmm.
Yeah, I do tend to go for more socially character. The man will beat you up and take your belt. Your pants will never stay up again.
Yep, that's good.
I do tend to prefer like socially oriented characters in World of Darkness games. Like there's just so much potential there. Right. What color are Ace's eyes and hair, everyone? Red eyes, rainbow hair. Okay, so first response was purple. Second response was brown. Third response was red eyes, rainbow hair. I'm going to go with purple eyes, rainbow hair, because that amuses me. Thank you for the suggestion, Snow Cookies, Beowulf, and Thor Sokar.
All right. So my little Calvin is very roughly in.
Oh, dang. Gosh, that is a little terrifying. which, as I understand it, is the vibe.
Yeah, I was like looking at the cover art for the monsters thing. It looks a bit like not like an Edward Gorey. I'm trying to think of like if Edward Gorey made Bratz dolls. I don't know,
If Edward Gorey made Bratz dolls.
a little bit. It's yeah.
I like it.
But the first thing I started with was like Calvin and Hobbes Cthulhu. So
Hmm. They look like a little rascal. Okay. Okay, I've made 3 different colored belts for this gentleman. Now for the hair, which I think I can. I'm gonna cheat,
hmm
which is
big cheats.
yeah. Look, as an artist, I give permission to all other artists to cheat.
Oh,
There
next
we
you'll
go.
be saying use reference.
Also do that.
Yeah, I think Brownie Points has definitely been watching too much One Piece. If my clown character looks like another clown character. Ah, the rainbow hair.
Fabulous.
I like that it's in the eyebrows too.
All right, and the buck.
The Rainbow Book of Rainbow Stories. How to punch.
Yep, it is the Book of Punching. Passed down to Ace by their mentor.
And honestly, just lifting the book is half the journey.
Yeah. Honestly, if time allows, I'm happy to run a second poll.
Oh yeah,
And
sure.
yeah. Let's here. Let me see if I can set that up real quick before I finish coloring this book.
Yeah, and then we can run it up to the break and then give it a go.
Let's see here.
The other thing I want to do is ask you about Powered by the Apocalypse, because you said you could just talk endlessly about that, and I haven't played
Oh
it.
God, yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll put a pin in that.
All right. I deleted all of the previous responses.
Haha!
Aha. And here, let me. There we go.
So that post from Blue Jay Dreamer is the form.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all would kindly fill that out again. I hope it lets you do it again, because it wasn't logging emails, so I don't think it was excluding people.
Yeah, actually, here, let me change something. Let me check something real quick.
Oh.
Settings, responses, collect, allow response editing. Should be fine.
Yeah. If anyone has an issue, just let us know.
Yeah. Let us know if you can get back in there.
Yeah. And I didn't fill out the first time, so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna click some buttons.
Okay.
I'm clicking away. Set and sail. Blip. And submitting. There. You'll never guess which responses are mine.
Yo. Oh.
Yeah.
How to punch. There we go. Fabulous. All right. Okay.
Yes, we have ever so slightly more viewers this time, so hopefully we'll get more
Yay.
than 13 responses.
Please check out the forum. I will be drawing whatever gets the most responses. So, like a weird but fun one. I look forward to seeing it. I'm not going to pick at them yet.
No.
Because I don't want to influence things by saying what's getting a lot of action.
It's going to remain a mystery.
So yeah, I can talk for a bit about Powered by the Apocalypse. It's a game, like D20 is a game system. Powered by the Apocalypse is a game.
Are you still doodling?
No, I've stopped for the moment. I need a little break.
Yeah, me too.
Gotta give my wrists a little break. Stretch it out. Do the what's his phrase from JoJo the manga?
Like
guy?
Araki? Like
Yeah, the self-insert character.
The self-insert character in JoJo.
Yeah, Kashibi, Rohan Kashibi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rohan. Like Rohan actually has like a specific like stretching regimen he does before drawing that is actually really, really good. Like I do it before I draw, and like I think it's the main reason I've never really had much wrist pain.
Yeah, when I started Course Club, I went through a bunch of like stretches that can be done and a bunch of warm-ups that people can do. I don't really do them on stream anymore, but yeah, there's some good wrists. Like
there's so many little fiddly bits in here that it's good to make sure that they're nice and loosened up. So Powered by the Apocalypse is a system based on, I guess, 2d6 is the like dice equivalent to d20, and the most common mechanic, I'd say, across all the Powered by the Apocalypse games I've played and looked at, is rather than its success or fail, you'll have 1 to 6 is a fail or fail equivalent. 7 to 9 is a mixed success, and 10 and up is a unqualified success. With the basic idea that, it's very much a fail-forward game, where even on a failure, the story's still going to progress, just your level of control over the progression is significantly lessened.
Okay.
Where with a mixed success or a full success, the games I've seen will generally provide you with a variety of options for how the story's going to go. Like, the idea is it's a very good system for narratives, where it's just like, we're not going to get deep into the weeds on what all your little skills are, or, like the exact stat points you have, with, different considerations for different takes on the system. It's going to focus on narrative stuff. For characters, a lot of them don't have character building in the traditional sense. What they'll have are playbooks, which are basically narrative archetypes for whatever kind of game they are.
Okay.
So
does
for
that determine what kind of actions you can take?
Yeah. So like there'll be a few, generally for most games, there'll be a few actions that are held in common. And then each playbook has access to other actions, or as they call them, moves, like as in make a move. And so like in Monster Hearts, which I brought up earlier, one of the playbooks is the vampire.
Okay.
And so the vampire's moves are sort of based around, the idea that in narratively speaking, the vampire plays games with consent. Like, may I come in?
Right.
Or, like demanding that you stay in their presence, or, like engaging in like ambiguous hypnotism, that sort of thing, playing with power, playing hot and cold. Or the werewolf has abilities based around like bonding with like one person in particular and, like struggling with, violent behavior or, the push and pull between wolf and person.
Right.
That sort of thing. So it's a lot more, it uses that to build essentially narrative focus. Most of the Powered by the Apocalypse games specify that each playbook only gets one person. You cannot do a situation where you have like two, like in D&D you can have a party with like multiple fighters, and it's like you might be a little unbalanced, but you can still play. But in Powered by Apocalypse, the narrative connections and roles between those characters is very important. Where are we at? 5:42? 1 second. I actually need to step away for the moment because I need a pee.
Start our break now.
Oh, fantastic. That'd be great.
All right, so we'll be back in 5-ish minutes.
And all of you, fill out that form. Do it. That is a command.
Right. BRB.
Bees! Live bees! Bee!
Welcome back to Can't Draw Horses Club. Today, Jane and I are drawing characters based on forum response from a link that's in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Google poll.
Yeah. So, yeah, our current... we're going to let the poll run a bit longer. Before we went to break, we were talking a bit about, role-playing game systems. And I was talking a bit about Powered by the Apocalypse, which is a really great framework for a lot of the games I've enjoyed. So I guess sort of I'll use a game I'm really fond of and familiar with as sort of my prime example of how it works. Monster Hearts. I described it as basically Supernatural / Teen Wolf / True Blood, the RPG. Modern horror tinged with soap opera drama, tinged with, teenage melodrama. It's very built around interpersonal relationships.
Right. I've always considered it like it's just in the
Mhm.
paranormal romance genre.
Exactly. Paranormal romance, exactly. So it uses that 2d6 system and a couple of basic moves, and it uses sort of the way you can often tell the vibe of a Powered by the Apocalypse game is what stats it uses. And the stats in Monster Hearts are hot, cold, volatile, and dark.
Okay.
And so those tie into the basic moves. Let me actually pull it up for reference here. I should have done that. Got an entire folder of Powered by the Apocalypse stuff.
So are those stats kind of like on an axis? Like, do you have hot and cold at the opposite end, or can you have points in both hot and cold?
You can have points in both hot and cold, and in fact, that is specifically what the vampire always has high hot and high cold, and I'll get into what that means. So all of those moves are tied into the basic moves that are shared by all of the characters. So hot, for example, is tied into turn someone on, because in this genre, the idea is like, you are not always fully in control of how like attracted you are to someone.
Right.
And like what's interesting is they do have rules for playing asexual characters, and that ties into the next move, which is shut someone down, which is cold.
Hmm.
And basically, it's when you use your words to shut them down, when you insult them, when you like put them down in front of other people, when you try and get at their emotional vulnerabilities. That's shutting someone down. And if your character is ace and someone tries to turn them on, they instead shut you down because it's reflecting sort of the social pressure that gets put on people to react in the appropriate way
Right.
to flirtation.
Ugh.
Um, cold is also used to keep your cool when you try to do something under pressure and like there's a chance of something going wrong very badly. Volatile is used to lash out physically. So it's like there is combat in this game, and it is very like is only barely under your control. Whenever you lash out, you're always going to do harm that you can't fully control. Like it will give you option. Like if you fully succeed, you basically shut them up. Like you hurt them, and they shut up and they stop.
Hmm.
If you get a mixed success, like something bad is going to happen. Like you hurt them, but a price is going to be paid.
Okay.
Of course, you don't just have to, if you're volatile, you don't just have to lash out at people. You can also use volatile to run away. And you can succeed at that, or you can fail at that in an interesting way, like you run into something worse, or you leave something important behind, or everyone sees you and you make a huge scene.
Right.
Like the idea is to drive the drama there. And then finally, dark gets used for gazing into the abyss, where it's sort of like characterized as that scene where it's like your character is doing research, or like, sort of ominous music playing as they discover something terrifying and creepy, or just figure out that, oh, this person is cheating on me.
Ah.
Yeah. So, so you've got your hot, your flirtation, your like emotional pull between characters. You've got cold, shutting people down, remaining calm in stressful situations. Volatile for lashing out with like strength you don't fully have a handle on, and dark for learning things that you're not ready for. So it's and so those are your basic moves that are tied into the stats. And then the other core mechanic, I'd call it, is pulling strings. Basically, a ton of the moves, and in fact, the setup for the game involve getting strings on other characters, which basically represents little nuggets of emotional influence that you have over them.
Mm-hmm.
And you can pull a string to try and tempt someone to do what you want.
Have you played like other systems, like Kids on Bikes, or any like solo?
I've not played a lot of solo RPGs, and in terms of other systems I played, like sort of if we go back over to the collage, yeah, so sort of to contrast with another, like, rules that aren't standard, rules that are interesting. Glitch doesn't use dice at all.
Right.
Like, it's actually one of my favorite systems. The idea is you have 4 separate, basically, wound tracks that basically represent different kinds of stress your character has. And the basic idea is, because your character is so antithetical to reality, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Like, there's no point in rolling dice, because if your character were rolling dice in the real world, it would always come up snake eyes.
No.
So basically,
I don't want to play this game.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. You can overcome that. Like, you're antithetical to reality, but you can tell reality to sit down and shut up. And you basically spend stress in order to do things, which is basically you the way the game phrases it is you align things so that the universe has no choice but to do what you want. Hmm. Yeah, it's not a super happy fun game, but it is a super interesting game.
Cool.
And so you basically have all these different forms of stress, and it's like you have skills, but they represent sort of your baseline of like functionality. It's like I can always do this without incurring stress.
Right.
Like your character can, for example, blow up the moon really easily. Yeah, that's just something they can do. It doesn't stress them out at all. It's super easy for them to blow up the moon. However, doing the dishes costs like 6 stress
That's
because
so true.
your skill at being a functional human being is naturally low and really difficult to raise compared to blowing up the moon. Yeah. It's that sort of game.
All right. I think maybe
Ah.
we want to
Yeah.
look at the poll now. So that
Yes,
we
let's
potentially
do
have
that.
enough time to scratch out some dudes.
Yeah, we got at least another hour. Okay, so more than 50% of the respondents wanted D&D, and I
Oh.
specifically chose the Eberron campaign setting because that's my favorite. It's the best. Don't at me.
It's Warforged. Yeah. No downsides.
Kalashtar for me
Oh.
are my favorite species in Eberron. And again, with more than 50% of respondents requesting Big Brain. So my character is going to be the smart one. Your character is going to be buff as hell.
Buff.
Mm-hmm. In terms of shape, it was okay. So there's a perfect tie for shape between bean, and pear for me.
Oh.
So I am going to draw the absolute cutest nugget of a character. You just wait.
A little bean.
Just a little bean. For you, you get Dorito this time.
Woo!
Mm-hmm. For a distinctive fashion choice this time, I'm getting long coat. And then you have a choice between too many belts, spiky hair, extra tattoos, or too many sunglasses. Again.
All right.
All right. Expression. I got stern expression. I got. You got cat smile.
Is that the little 3 for a mouth?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. For equipment, I got magic, and you got bare fists. And then finally, for extra spice, I got has a little buddy, and you got filled with uncontrollable rage.
Okay.
Which is going to be really interesting with the cat smile.
It's the smile of a psychopath. Clearly.
Oh, yeah. 1 second. I appear to have lost my glove. Where are you, Art Glove? Hold on. Sorry.
Borrow mine? I don't know.
I wish. Wait, did I put it in my pocket. Okay, we're all good.
It's like
It
the
was
glasses
literally
that are on
on
my
my
face. I can't find them.
All right. Okay, so all right, let's see here.
Dorito.
Yeah. All right. Gosh, Eberron. I want more Eberron stuff. Like, I want, like, you know how they released Baldur's Gate 3?
Uh-huh.
And, like, it's really good and awesome,
But it's
and
not
everyone
Eberron.
loves it? Yes! Just give me that in Eberron. Give me Baldur's Gate 3, but the setting is Eberron, and have one of the characters be a Warforged, and, like, I promise you will sell all the games. Like, they're just leaving money on the table. Anyway, so since I got this particular shape of character, oh my gosh, brownie points! One of your friends got to play in a charity game with Keith Baker. That is like, oh, that is the dream. That is the dream.
Yeah, I've never played with Keith.
I mean,
He knows too much.
yeah.
Yeah. I got to
Alright.
play with Chris Perkins in a D&D game.
I confess that that name doesn't immediately ring bells, but I'm really bad with names.
He ended up running a bunch of the Acquisitions Inc. stuff,
Ah,
but he's like, I've never played with a DM that knows so much about the setting.
yeah. Because then you feel bad, or what?
No, it's amazing because you can just sit back and just be like, how do Fireball work? And he knows everything about how Fireball work. So you can just like roll a mage and he knows all the spells.
So I think this character is going to be a halfling. Going to be a super smart halfling. Ooh, actually, halfling artificer. You're going to have a little robot buddy. You're going to have some magic. Oh, apparently, he's lead designer of 5e and
No,
senior story designer
that's
at
it.
D&D at the moment.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Crawford's lead design. Yep. Was it Jeremy Crawford? That's his name. Trying to think. Yeah.
So, wait. Apparently, I'm the most famous person as he's played D&D with, which, yeah.
Feels good.
I'm not fully certain how to feel about that, but
Just ride with it. Just...
yeah. Yeah, I'd like to think I'm a pretty good person to have at your table. I'm very I never lack for enthusiasm. Like I could say that at least. Like you get me at the table, you're going to get someone who is deeply concerned about the nature of your world. Like and who may with the right motivation draw a lot of art for you. Like actually one something I've done something I did for a previous campaign for Adzi is she basically gave me a script and I helped draw a animatic opening for it, which I'm still very proud of. Like Adzi edited it, but I I did a lot of art for it and it turned out really good. And I really want to do that again sometime. Actually, wait. I just realized. Wait, this person is supposed to have a frump expression.
Yeah, serious.
There we go. Just checking. Look, Dean is a very so Dean is the setting Adzi runs, and it's very cool. But Eberron is what really like plunged me into D&D. Like, I will always carry a torch for Eberron. Let's see here. Okay, so long coat. So in the spirit of exaggerating things, I am not going. This is going to be a long coat for like an orc. So it's just going to be just trailing out around her. I already like this character more than Ace, and I haven't even thought of a name for her.
A name.
A name.
Sticky.
My kingdom for a name. Sticky?
Yep.
Ooh, Sticky's good. Sticky sounds like a good nickname for her. Yeah. What do you think, chat? Sticky as a nickname, but what is this halfling's proper name? Stickalata is one suggestion. But yeah, I mentioned Kalashtar are my favorite part of Eberron, and just like I was very drawn to the idea of these like outcast, like half human psionics that are like doing their best to make the world a better place, despite being continuously hunted uh, by their enemies and having access to incredible mystic psychic powers to assist them in their endeavor. But I think of the like so Warforged are obviously the like big thing that came out of Eberron that sort of like got disseminated to, you know, everyone wants them for their homebrew setting because they're awesome. But I think it was those and Warforged. It goes like Warforged, Changelings, Shifters, Kalashtar in terms of how much like psychic real estate they take up. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, adjust this arms position. How's yours coming? Hey.
Very good.
Yeah.
Making a large cat person.
Ooh.
Trying to get all of the beans correct.
Excellent. This one gonna play. The sleeves are super rolled back, so thick. It's the absolute. Just this halfling pulled this coat out of a bargain bin, like at a human-focused store in Sharn. It's just like if you have a problem, you can heck off with that because she likes it. It's warm. Okay. Got a belt here for her. Okay. Yeah, I like to think just from looking at this character already, you can sort of get a vibe of how she's going to be in the campaign. It's a very rough and tumble character. All right, and now for the little buddy. Let's see here. Oh man, brownie pounds. Yeah, so Talenta halflings in Eberron, for those who aren't aware, are a nomadic people who live in this place called the Talenta Plains, and they tame and ride dinosaurs.
Yes.
It's awesome. .4 foot, -3, and ready to throw hands with God. But yeah, and then Eberoni hobgoblins are actually super interesting. Like they have this entire like massive history, and this history of empire, of decline and success. They were principally responsible for heading off one of the many apocalypses in Eberron's backstory. So, like, there's that. Like, also in general, Eberron was very like when it first came out, it was like the first major setting that was like, yeah, alignments, those are strictly optional for most things.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so little buddy. I'm thinking like maybe just a Thopter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a Thopter. Just everyone loves Thopters.
Yeah. Everybody.
All right, let's look up some Thopters here. Hey chat, what's your favorite Thopter? There we go, little buddy. And kind of feeling the vibe of just throwing some colors in here.
Yeah.
I'll take suggestion from chat, but if I feel myself being drawn in a particular direction, I'm probably just going to do that.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Like, this coat says blue to me.
Yeah, I'm just making a mess.
It's a lot of fun in art to just make a mess. All right, chat. What's your of official D&D products? What's your favorite campaign setting? Like, and you can get weird with it. I'm not going to judge anyone for saying,
Greyhawk.
Greyhawk for you real grognards out there.
Hey. I thought we were making fun of people. I've never played Greyhawk.
Yeah, it's sort of weird because it's like, ooh, Ravnica. I've heard a lot of good stuff about Critical Role. I need to look into Exandria sometime. Let's see here. Forgotten Realms. God. I tried to go back and read the first Drizzt books, and like those have aged. They've definitely aged. I think it's because like in between like since I first read the Drizzt books and since the last time I tried to go back and read them, I'd read Discworld books and discovered what fantasy could be.
You had fun.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I can, like, all of these tropes that, the Drizzt books just take as read are actually things I can just laugh at now, and it's kind of silly.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this, feral researcher is the vibe I'm getting from her.
Yeah.
Just like, I have come to the wilds of Zendrick to find my research topic, and anything that tries to stop me is eating a magic missile between the eyes. Anything that survives that is eating a fireball. Of course, she is practicing proper trigger discipline. We're not going crazy here.
Yeah.
Gilgamesh but make it. That's just fate. Gilgamesh but twink coated is just fate. Like, for anyone who follows Red from Overly Sarcastic Productions, like, I fully agree with her that in the series where they had both Gilgamesh and Alexander the Great,
Yes.
they should have just swapped their appearances.
Mm.
Because Alexander the Great in fate is this huge bear of a man, when in history he was described as like, you
He's
know,
a pretty boy.
like the most powerful twink in existence. While Gilgamesh
loved
is
his
properly
horse so
described
much.
as a bear of a man with a huge beard.
Right.
It's just like, come on. I know it's anime bullshit, but come on. All right. Okay, taking suggestions for eye and hair color now. Clearly red hair, like fire engine red. Okay.
Ooh. Sort of thing that happens when you're near magic and have an accident.
Yeah. Wee wee. Oh yeah. Ice blue eyes. I like that. That's just the first. Black hair, green eyes, ice blue eyes. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with ice blue eyes. As partial as I am to a green-eyed redhead, I've made several of them as characters. Like, not even just on what you saw earlier.
Just in general.
Yeah, it's a very striking combination. Like, listen, you're making an RPG character. Don't be afraid to indulge your whims. If you want to give them weird fucking hair, and like a specific, like extremely rare combination, just do it. Do not hesitate. Do not say no. Like, just do it. You will be happier. Like, what are role playing games for if we cannot indulge some of our whims? Yeah, looking good here. Just gotta get pants and boots.
Pants and boots. Fancy.
I forget. Did somebody suggest a name for our Fury character here?
Mine?
Uh, well, for mine, but also, what the heck are we naming yours?
Uh.
Oh, right, Sticky. Sticky was the nickname. Yeah. I think I'm getting distracted by the motion of my own face on the screen. Oops.
That happens. Look away from the light.
Yeah. I need to get more used to this streaming. I am trying to get some practice in. Adzi and I have started doing a I did an art stream last Friday, and gonna be trying to do more of those on Fridays when I'm not playing video games.
Mhm.
So there's that. Something I can at least plan for. And our little scepter buddy. Sorry, meds alarm.
Reminder, chat, take your meds.
Sticky Vicky the Icky from Wicket. Which is interesting. So apparently, according to Quixotic Scrivener, Corey's yours strikes them as a billium,
Hmm.
which is interesting. Square.cube has suggested UG.
Ugh. Oh, Yuji.
Yeah.
Yugi, not Yugi.
Yeah.
Yogi Moto.
UG Sticky Vicky. The Icky.
The Icky.
From Witwicket. And there we go. Feeling pretty good about that one. So yeah, I think she's an artificer. And yeah, actually, that reminds me. I just want to make it clear that she does have a little artificer, maybe with a bit of sorcerer mixed in there. I'll make that clear. Got this little brush here that's perfect for energy effects. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm coming up on just about no thoughts head empty.
Well,
Um,
I'm going to show
so
off
if
my
anyone has
character.
questions,
Ta-da! Too many
Hey!
sunglasses. And filled with
Nice.
rage.
Dang, that is a thing. Like
Catman.
you walk up to Dad in a dark alley, and you're like, "Oh, I should have renewed my will.
Yeah. Just like there's a lot going on. Whereas yours seems conversational. Like you could.
Yeah, she's very conversational. She's asking you a question, and the question is, "You want to go?" Trying to sell you a timepiece. It's just like, hey, you want to see what I got in my coat?
Guns. No, you don't.
Oh god, they're just walking up to that one scene in the Matrix with a coat like this, just like, can you please open your coat? Just like walking up, and it's just like there's just sound of like all the different guns clattering against the floor as they're dragged along.
Yep.
Just like, ma'am, could you please open your coat?
Long chinchilla.
Oh yeah, long chinchilla.
The largest dust bather.
Oh yeah, no, I can absolutely picture your guy rolling around in a bunch of dust in order to get clean.
Yeah. Very little self-grooming. Just
Ooh, that's a good idea. Sticky Stopper carries the coat trail when she travels.
or like uses a little grass purse to pick up her little gun if she drops it. Just
Yeah.
like,
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, just her sleeves keep falling over her hands. It's just like, what? No, I gotta pin these back.
so why are you even wearing that? It's my mother's.
I'm sorry, your mother's?
I'm gonna be a great
Adopted.
artificer, just like her. The first
Look,
step
making
is
enchanted
coat.
coats is hard. It is so hard. You have to get the stitching exactly right, or it's just going to be, you're just not going to have a good time. I'm not having a good time. I'm grumpy. Mad because small. Jealous of tall.
Oh. Yeah. Sometimes the resize incantation doesn't work. Good point, brownie points.
Yeah, definitely a good point.
Mhm.
Does anyone have questions about either drawing or role playing games? Because I am happy to at least attempt to answer either of those things.
Yeah. I mean, we can, while we wait for questions, if you want to talk about where people can find you on the socials.
Yeah, actually, that'd be great. So, here, let me pull up all those things I sent you earlier.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm in a couple different places. I'm on kind.social. Sort of. I'm there a little bit. I am at bluejane at kind.social. For those who want to check me out on Mastodon. I am on Blue Sky. For those who do Blue Sky, I am Bluejane there as well. Sorry, hiccups.
Mm-hmm.
And so is Adsy and Jane Comics. That goes under ANJ Comics. .bluesky.social. One moment. Not sure where that's coming from. You can also find everything Adsy and Jane do at adsyandjanecomics.com, which has links to both of our main webcomics and also has a contact form in case you want to get in contact with us for any kind of like commissioning, questions, just whatever you feel like. We do also have a Patreon, patreon.com/@ZandJane, and a Discord, which you are welcome to join. There are links to it on @ZandJane.com.
Okay. I'm going to post the big block of links here in
Yeah.
chat. There.
Yeah. Look, @ZandJane just rolls off the tongue, and it's convenient, and it's easy to remember. And it neatly encapsulates what we're about, which is the two of us doing things.
Yep. Oh, and you have Twitch now.
Yeah, we are on Twitch. We are at twitch.tv slash Adsy and Jane Comics. Here, let me link it. Boop, 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 boop. Oh man, Adsy, I just realized we should have been hosting this.
Yeah.
Look, making content is hard. I'm already doing too much work. So let me just post that real quick. There's that.
I'm pretty sure it's easy to make content and you get all the sleep you want. Definitely.
I have been getting all the sleep I need, but boy howdy am I like in terms of making things, I am burning that wick. But yeah. Let's see. So that's all the links basically. Adsy, you are also doing too much work, okay? We're both working very hard. What was I going to say? It was right on the tip of my tongue.
Mm.
Our webcomic Arcana Watch updates on Mondays and Fridays. You can go check out a new page right now. We're in the middle of a very dramatic arc. If you want to go check that out. So there's that. We do have a shop where we have stickers available for people who enjoy stickers and think our characters look neat and want to put their faces on things. I think that's all the links I can think of. Adsy, if you can think of other links, post them. You're off work by now, right? That's basically our relationship, is us yelling at each other to do things.
Yep. It's collaboration.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how things work.
Yeah.
In your defense, you're very good at it.
Adsy is good at tax paperwork.
Yes.
Don't really know why your Blue Sky requires tax paperwork, but you know.
I'm not actually sure that does. But yeah, okay. So that's all of my, that's all of our links. So yeah. Any questions people have, or if people, want to look at the collage again, we won't know how good we are at until January. Okay, fair enough. Anyone have any questions about the work we do, about art, about role-playing games? I'm happy to answer any of those. Just whatever occurs to you. Because I am.
If not, then we can say good night.
Yeah. Oh God, Thaco. I mean, I've never played it. It
Really?
sounds like okay, Thaco. Okay, when you say Thaco, is that like that's the very first like editions of D&D, right?
Yep, first and second use Thaco.
Like the thing that occurs to me there is armor counts down, which
yes,
yeah, my brain doesn't like that. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, it is a little backwards. Like you roll and then you subtract it from their armor score, and you have to hit a certain threshold to actually hit them.
Okay.
So it stands for to hit armor class 0. So it's based on if their armor class was 0, you would have to how you'd have to roll.
God, that hurts my brain. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
What's weird about having a shield +1 and deducting the extra bonus from your AC? Yeah, like oh God, it just hurts my brain.
What did they do in the Fantasy Flight 40K RPG?
For the Fantasy Flight ones, it's a roll under system. where you have a stat and you're trying to roll under the number with D100.
Uh, but I mean, I think Warhammer's always had, like, for the RPGs, they've always had, like, tables. Like, I remember a friend talking about, like, damaged,
Yeah,
like, body part targeting. and stuff
yeah,
like
they
that.
they do have that. The like it is so Dark Heresy and all of its ilk are like they're great to read because of all of the lore. Like just being able to go through it's like, hey, you want to learn about the 40k setting? Like without like, having to, wade through a narrative, like here you go, here's our source books, and you know, it can be a lot of fun. But the systems take a lot of getting used to, and if not everyone's, completely on board, like
Yeah.
you're gonna be every single turn, it's just gonna be, okay, what do I do here? What do I add? What do I subtract? Okay, now what?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's why I bounced off of, like, Traveler, because
Mhm.
you have a lot of details about your ship,
Yeah.
and then, like, you have to, like, look at a different book for specific, like, engine parts, and then you have,
Yeah.
like, to calculate your fuel consumption.
Which setting has the best kobolds? I'm gonna have to go with Adzi's setting, which are the only kobolds I have spent significant time with, but who are excellent. Let's see here.
Are they dragon or
Like-
dog?
Oh, dragon or dog? I prefer ones with big snouts.
Right.
So I guess dragon.
Or lizard or
Yeah,
bat, yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Kobolds get just kind of shoved into a hole.
Yeah, I think my preference is lizard. Like I like little lizard guys. Like that's my favorite. They're definitely descended from dragons. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, definitely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. 100%.
Mhm.
People don't realize.
It's all kobolds ever talk about.
100%.
And we believe them.
Mhm. Mhm.
All right. I'm not seeing much in the way of questions, so we should say goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us, and please check out Adzi and Jane's stuff. I would really appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for joining us.